Hey gaming fans, so I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a test hand video for the Monarch deck that I recently posted, or in my last video I should say, just to see how it plays out and you know, just do some test runs and you know, see how it looks when you actually try and play this thing. I haven't done a lot of these test hand videos, so I thought I would give it a shot again. But yeah, it's kind of fun to just see what these decks can do. And you know, just the kind of plays you would make. Of course, if you see any misplays or any suggestions on how this deck could be a little bit different or better, okay, always welcome to throw some comments. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always like to test as if I'm going first. I don't know, just easier that way sometimes. I mean, you could try second as well, but because we don't really have an opponent here, it's really hard to know what the setup's going to be. So, I mean, this is not bad. We got this guy here. He draws you the card. We got a Return of the Monarch. We got Pantheism. That's the card you always want to see. And domains. So we got 2 domains. That's not bad. Geez, I really missed the drawing on the first turn when this game used to allow you to do that. So anyways, let's see. What would we do here? I'll just put the deck over there. Ooh. Put the deck over there because we don't need it right now. So we would play that in our pendulum area. And what it does is, if you have no cards in your extra deck except him, you can destroy this card and then draw 1 card. So we will do that. We'll destroy him. So he's going to go to the extra monster zone, whatever, face up. We'll just put him right there in the corner, and we'll draw our card. Let's see what we get. Oh, another Pantheism. That's cool. So from what I understand, Pantheism it's not a once per turn card except for its secondary effect. Because it says send 1 Monarch spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. It doesn't say you can only use that effect once. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard, reveal 3 Monarch spell or traps from your deck. Your opponent chooses 1, you add that to your hand, and if you do, shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only use this effect of Pantheism once per turn. So it looks like the draw effect, you could use it multiple times. So we have a domain in our hand, an extra domain. So let's just discard that. We'll just discard those. Discard that to draw 2 cards. Now what do we got? Oh my geez, we got another Pantheism. So we draw in all our Pantheisms. That's okay. I mean, we'll see what happens here. So we can activate the effect of Pantheism. Sure, why not? We'll banish it, and then we will go through the deck. What would we want? Probably Tenacity. Now, it says you have to pick 3 cards, and then your opponent chooses 1 to add to your hand. But if you pick 3 of the same card, you're going to get that card. So I think we have all our Tenacities in the deck. So we have 1, 2, and I think I have 3 in the deck. Yep, there's the 3rd one. So I would pick all 3 of them, which would force my opponent to choose that. So now we're going to have to shuffle and see what happens here. So now we have, that's in our graveyard. So we have this guy. He's still, he's in our extra deck. We can special summon him though, from the extra deck zone if we want to. And we have a Monarch in our hand. So Domain actually allows you to, once per turn, reduce the level of 1 monster with 2800 more attack, which is him, by 2, which makes him a single tribute monster. So do we want to hold our hand? Do we want to... I could play Tenacity, but what would I grab? I know what I'm going to grab. So I'm going to play Tenacity. I have to reveal a monster with 2400 attack or 2800 attack, so it would be him. So I'll reveal him to my opponent. There you go. And we can grab any Monarch spell or trap. Now normally you'd go after your Pantheism or something you really need. In this case, I think I'm going to grab the Prime Monarch, which is a good card to have in the graveyard. It's also a good card to have on the field too, because it allows you to target 2 Monarch spell or traps and shuffle them into your deck and then draw 1 card. So drawing cards is always good. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in our hand, which is pretty good. So then we could actually just play the Pantheism again, discard the Monarch, the Prime Monarch, draw 2 more cards, And I mean, these type of hands aren't always going to happen. Obviously, you're not always going to get your pantheisms like that. So what else do we got? Well, we have the Return of the Monarchs, which is a good card because it allows you to add more cards to your hand. We have the Monarch Storm 4, but since we're going first, we don't really have anything on your opponent's field to use that card, so we're just going to activate Pantheism again. Why not? Draw 2 more cards. Okay, so now we got Yatagarasu in our hand. So we can sort of lock the opponent out of drawing if they can't do anything about him. So I guess at this point, I mean, I can summon one of these Monarchs. Yeah, so let's play the Return of the Monarchs. And then we'll play our Domain. So, I mean, there's not a lot of card space here. Or board space here. So we'll have our Domain there. We'll have that there. Actually, before we play that, I think we need to actually special summon him first. And now we play the Return of the Monarchs. Now we can use the Domain's effect to knock one of these guys down to a level 6. So we can tribute summon. Which one do we want now? So this one will grab a card out of the opponent's hand. If this card is tribute summon, you can send 2 Monarch spell or traps with different names from your hand or deck to graveyard. And if you do, shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand at random, graveyard or side of the field into the deck. Now that might be fun because we have Yatagarasu, so we'll cut the opponent's hand size by 1, and hopefully if they can't do anything about it, Yata will come into next turn and stop them from doing anything. So we can do that. We can do, or this guy, when you summon him, he adds a Monarch. You can send the 2 Monarch spell or traps with different names from your hand, the deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 monster with 2400 attack from your deck, but return it to the hand during the end phase. So we can grab one of our Monarchs. So it's either way. Either way we can do it. We can also, we have our Prime Monarch in the graveyard, so we could also activate this to summon this and use that as tribute fodder. So it really doesn't matter. Like, let's just do that anyways. Let's see here. So we have to banish a you banish a Monarch spell or trap from your graveyard. So we'll banish the Pantheism. And then, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Probably not a great idea to banish that card, but whatever. We'll do that. And then we will special summon that. So now we can still tribute summon because we have one of these guys which we knocked down to a level 6. Let's go with this guy. Let's rip the card out of the opponent's hand. So then let's just tribute this. It gets banished, I think, or does it go to the graveyard? This card's banish one other Monarch. No, I guess it just goes to the graveyard. So we'll just throw it in the grave and we'll summon him. So now we got 2 monsters on the field, 2800. We have this, we have the Domain. So let's activate his effect. So we're going to send 2 Monarch spell or traps. Let's send the Monarch Storms forth, and well, we got March of the Monarchs already on the field, so let's just send that. And we grab an opponent, rip a card out of the opponent's hand. So now they have 4 cards in their hand. We got a Return of the Monarchs, which is active on the field. So when you tribute summon a monster, you can activate one of these effects. Add from your deck to your hand 1 monster with 2400 attack. Or add from your deck to your hand 1 monster with 2800 attack. So you're basically grabbing a Monarch. So which one would we want? Well, we have these 2. So let's see. Maybe we can grab... well, it doesn't have to be a Monarch either. It could be even be our Majesty's Fiend if we want to kill all monster effects. So let's grab that. May be able to shut the opponent down with that. Plus with the Domain out, well, you have no cards in your extra deck, and you're the only player that controls a tribute summon monster. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So we got them locked out of their extra deck now because we don't have anything in our extra deck. So now we got that, and yeah. So overall, I mean, yes, I mean, this was kind of unfair, you know, the fact that I drew 3 Pantheisms, but it still gives you an idea of how this deck kind of runs. So then, you know, next turn, depending on what your opponent is playing, obviously, I mean, they could have a lot of cards in their hand that can ruin your day. But if they don't, I mean, look at all the cards we've just summoned and played, and we still have a full hand, which is pretty impressive. I mean, for, you know, you would think that Monarchs, you're going to be using a lot of cards in your hand, but there's a lot of cards that actually replace themselves, so this is actually pretty decent. Maybe I'll try another one, you know, just to quickly see, because we're not going to draw these pantheisms all the time like that, so let's make sure we separate them when we shuffle up here. Just put that in there, put that there. We'll try and get a good shuffle. I mean, normally I'd like to do like a good power shuffle, or, you know, where you just put the cards down and, you know, at random, but just for the sake of time, let's just, I mean, heck, there's nothing valuable in this deck anyways, I don't think. Let's just do one of these type of crazy shuffles. Not like I have $100 cards in here. Most of this stuff came out of the structure deck. So we're gonna try this now. Let's see what happens. We're not gonna draw 3 Pantheons, I'll tell you that much. 3, 4, and 5. So this hand is not as exciting. We got the Monarch there. We got our Yada. We got a Crackdown, Domain, and a Prime Monarch. So probably what I would do here is I would set the Prime Monarch. No, why set that? I'd probably just set Crackdown. And whatever your opponent summons next turn, just try and steal it and hopefully stop them from doing anything. I mean, that's obviously the plan, but, you know, who knows what your opponent's playing. They could special summon a whole crap load of monsters, but let's just, for sake of argument, say they summon a monster. Before they can do anything, you steal it. Then they just kind of like, oh, and then end their turn, and then we'll go into our next turn. Just for fun. So we have the monster. We have it stolen. So we can do our domain. Depending on how you feel about your opponent's hand, you might want to, at this point, Yada Garasu them and then see what happens. I mean, they might fold at that point, right? This guy, they see him on the field, they're like, oh, game over. You know, and depending on what they have, of course, they could have, you know, Effect Veiler or something in their hand and not care. But if they didn't, you know, at this point, you can use your domain's effect to bring him down to a level 6. Tribute the monster you stole. I think, does this leave the field if you tribute the monster? Activate by targeting one face up, blah, blah, blah. Well, you control that monster. It cannot attack. Activate when that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. Yes, so it goes away. And so now we got this guy in effect, which allows us to grab a Monarch, or a card from our deck. So we'll grab, let's see, Kuraz, why not? I mean, yeah, it gives your opponents some cards if you destroy their cards, but could still give you somewhat of an advantage of ruining their field. And yeah, at this point I would just kind of like settle with this guy. Oh, sorry, we got this guy's effect. My mistake. Oh no, we just used it. Okay, so next turn. Okay, so we got Ida, the Heavenly Squire. So obviously from there you would summon him to grab your Eidos, however you want to pronounce that guy's name. Weird name. So he grabs him, and he special summons him, and now you can perform another summon because of his effect. So I guess it would be whatever you want at this point. I mean, for fun, let's just do this, where we would tribute this guy, summon Kuraz, destroy these two, just to see what we'll draw. And draw 2 cards. And you still got your Monarchs out there on the field. You got your domain ready. We got Yada. We got a few extra plays here we could do. You know, next turn you could do this guy again. Bring out this guy. So there's a lot of options here. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to do this. This was just a fun video of just seeing what this deck can do. You know, I don't know how really competitive this type of thing is. I mean, it is pretty fragile. You're heavily relying on this card, really, to stay on the field. And if your opponent's hoping to use their extra deck, they're going to be kind of messed. So they better have, like, you know, something to destroy that Harpy's feather duster or something like that to get rid of it. Otherwise, they're just going to fold, and that's going to be the game. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If I misplayed any cards or if I had better options, I always like to hear it. Throw your comments down below. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.